Hi guys, welcome back. Today's cooking video is gonna be super short, sweet, simple, to the point, with only 3 ingredients. Can you believe it? Well, sorta. Let me show you. So obviously this is more than 3, but what it is grape jelly meatballs. And we're gonna be using venison, obviously some grape jelly, barbecue sauce, and then if you're gonna make your own meatballs, you need an egg and some breadcrumbs to keep your meatballs all together. You can also obviously buy store-bought ones, and then that would give you your 3 ingredients. And then a bun, of course, if that's what you wanna eat it with. So, still not a lot of ingredients, so we're gonna get started. It's gonna be super simple, and this is something that's gonna be really good to make for, you know, parties, like as an appetizer. It's just a quick, unique recipe that I feel like not a lot of people have tried, so we're gonna make it, and you guys are gonna have to let me know what you think. All right, so you gotta roll up your sleeves if you're gonna make your own, which I am. And basically, we're just gonna put all the venison in a bowl with an egg and some breadcrumbs, and then we're gonna just make individual meatballs. It's kind of your preference as to how big you wanna make them. I'll probably just make them like bite-sized because we're gonna end up putting it as like a sub in a hoagie roll, so that's about the size you're gonna do. And then we also need a crock pot. You don't necessarily need this, but it's good if you're gonna obviously be hosting and just wanna put them somewhere just to keep them warm. So we'll deal with that later. But for now, we're just gonna need a knife. So you're gonna start with venison. Don't cut yourself. Careful. Just pick your favorite cooking bowl that you have. Any kind will do. I like stainless because I do. And the egg. I can crack that without dropping anything. And then this is where you're gonna get your hands a little messy. You can wear gloves if you prefer, but we're gonna drizzle in some breadcrumbs. This, we're gonna just guesstimate how many we need. You're just gonna work it all together. And yes, my hands are clean. I'm the only one eating it anyway, so I don't even care. Probably gonna need more breadcrumbs. And you can use whatever kind of breadcrumbs you want. I'm just using the panko because that's just what I have, but it really doesn't matter. The biggest thing for this recipe, because I know it's like a unique recipe, you guys probably have never heard of it, and this is something that my grandma actually used to make, and so that's kind of like where I got this idea. But because like barbecue sauce and grape jelly are such like unique flavors, it's best to have you know, nothing mixed in your burger, and you know, just very plain breadcrumbs that don't have any like seasoning or anything in it, because it could throw off the flavor. So basically you're gonna kind of work it together where it's like, you know, staying in a bit of a shape versus like kind of falling apart. So I think that looks pretty decent. I might add a little bit more because we're gonna cook them up. So about like that, doesn't have to be pretty. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get a plate, and then we're gonna just make them into meatballs, and then we're gonna fry them up. Obviously if you buy store-bought ones, they're probably pre-cooked, so you can skip that step and just throw them straight into the crock pot, but I have to cook mine. So we're gonna do roughly bite-sized, maybe a little bit bigger. About like that. Nice and cute. That was a little bigger. You can also substitute with other meats too. Like I'm just using venison, but obviously you could use elk, beef, moose, literally antelope. Anything that you have that you could make into burger, which is pretty much everything, I think. I don't know about like birds, but maybe just any sort of red meat would be fine with this, and I think it would taste just as fine. Okay. All right, so once you got your meatballs made, we're gonna cook them up. Kind of do like a medium heat. Literally just gonna like fry them, a little bit of oil in the pan. Actually, I might let it heat up a little bit first, because you should do that. All right, I think the oil is ready. It's popping at me. That's terrifying. Okay. So we're just gonna throw them in the pan. Just gonna leave the heat on medium-ish. Now I'll just flip them every now and then until they're cooked the whole way through the center. Which really shouldn't take too long. Okay, so they're starting to brown pretty good. It really doesn't take too long, just a few minutes on each side. And you can either cook them the whole way through, which is what I'm gonna do because we're gonna try to just save some time for this video, but, or if you're in a hurry, obviously, you can cook them the whole way. But if you don't wanna do that, you can also just kind of brown the sides a little bit and not cook them the whole way through, and then throw them in the crock pot and let them sit for a few hours. Just personal preference. They're gonna turn out the same either way. I'm gonna cook them. Actually getting kind of brown, so I might even cut the heat back a little bit. All right, so we got our meatballs pretty well cooked. So what we're gonna do is transfer them over to the crock pot, cut our heat. And then it's pretty simple. You're just gonna add the jelly and barbecue sauce. And I know, hear me out, I know it sounds like a weird combination, but it seriously, for whatever reason, is so good. And when you're picking out barbecue sauce, make sure it's more of like an original, like you could do like a honey barbecue, I guess, but the more like plain it is, the better, because if it's too sweet, then the jelly's gonna make it extra sweet. So we're just gonna add that in there. And then if you like it a little sweeter, you can add a little more jelly. If you don't want it as sweet, you can add more barbecue sauce. And then you're pretty much just gonna let it sit in the crock pot. You know, obviously give it like a little bit of a stir, but the jelly's gonna have to break down and get warm. So you're pretty much just gonna stir it every, you know, I don't know. Depends how long you wanna leave it in, I guess, but every few minutes. But this is something that you can just pop the lid on and kind of leave it, which is what what we're gonna do. This is what we're working with now that it's all melted down. It truly just looks like a barbecue sauce, and it pretty much is, like, obviously, but the flavor is just a sweeter barbecue sauce. I don't know for sure, but I always thought this was like a Pennsylvania recipe. So I'm from Pennsylvania and my grandma always made it. So this is just something that reminds me of her. And we eat it just in like a bun. You can toast it if you want, but obviously you don't have to. If you know like the Vienna sausages, like if you've ever had those, I think that's probably what this is most similar to. We're gonna try it. If I don't make a mess, which I probably will. That looks good enough. Okay. Not the most beautiful thing ever, but I think they taste pretty good. Let's do this side. Super good. This is actually the first I've made them with deer meat, which is really good with the barbecue. And they're not overly sweet, but the flavor's really, really good. So there you have it. And they're good with chips or whatever, just a very easy meal. Or they could be an appetizer. So I might actually try those with other meats too, because I think that would be really good. Thank you guys for watching. And so I'm gonna go clean up my mess and finish my sandwich and maybe have a chip or two. And I'll see you guys in the next one.